Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this SmackDown breakdown video. Now, this was a weird SmackDown and it started off as a weird SmackDown before the show had even started because you might have noticed that the entranceway felt a bit different, and that's because they were running a much smaller venue. I mean, here you can see the setup was just over 5,000 seats, which is so strange. The average for the TV shows this year has been nearly 11,000. So I don't know why they chose this arena. I don't know if there was a bigger arena that was maybe fully booked. Not sure of the thought process. But if it felt different, it's because it was different. I didn't mind that, though. I don't mind us being in a different space, different size venue on a weekly basis. It's kind of nice not having every show just feel exactly the same. So I wasn't down on it. But if it felt a bit weird, a bit different, that might help explain why. We started with this backstage as well. So we had Jimmy. He was on the show, which was quite a surprise. He bumped into Cody, said he was here because of what had happened to Jacob. And so, you know, he was looking for Drew. If he'd have turned around, he would have seen that Drew was right behind. Drew was actually in the background. Obviously, Drew has got a match coming up with Cody at Saturday night's main event. And Drew also knows that he is public enemy number one, suspect number one, when it came to who attacked Jacob. Me personally, I don't think it was Drew. We were talking during our live watch along about who it could have been. Some of the names being mentioned were the likes of Randy Orton. Some people wonder if it is Cody. I floated the idea of it being Jimmy because I do think that Jimmy is in need of some character development. Obviously, he is upset with his brother Jay. If he attacks Jay and turns heel, then reveals he was also the one that attacked Jacob. And the reason why he did that is because his family have not been there for him. They've not helped him. They've betrayed him. They've not had his best interests at heart. So he's took out Jay. He's took out Jacob. You could see a way forward with it being Jimmy. And actually, Jimmy here looking for Drew, blaming Drew, trying to pass the blame onto someone else. That would also make sense. So I think there's lots of people that it could end up being. I just hope it's going to be a really good reveal when we actually get to it. Talking of that entrance stage, there it was. Really weird, kind of cobbled together. SlamX said the stage looks very cool. I would say different. I can't say that it looked cool. It just looked a bit kind of like cobbled together. It was like, that's the space we've got. What shall we do? You know? But as we said, we know the reason why. It's because it was a very small venue. Commentary was Corey Graves and Michael Cole. So always worth mentioning because we have been changing the commentary teams in recent weeks for various reasons. Cody was in the ring, but Drew would interrupt. Drew accuses Jimmy of attacking Jacob. He said the black sheep of the family, his brother has got another world title match. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Maybe he took a page out of his wife Naomi's book, and it's a great shout. Honestly, it's a great shout. I actually forgot that he was blaming Jimmy. But it makes sense. I mean, the one thing about Drew is that he says that he always tells the truth and he prides himself on that. He repeatedly keeps saying it was not him. And it would go completely against everything he's been telling us if he was now lying. So I believe him, honestly. I don't think it was him. Okay, Jimmy Uso then comes out and starts beating up on Drew. We would find out that they would end up having a match as our main event. It would be a street fight. Right, these two got separated, and it was mentioned in our chat as well. Now, this is Doug Malo. I don't know Doug Malo, but apparently he is the wrestler that helped get Raja Jackson off of Psycho Stu. So he was used. To be honest, if they've gone to this area, and this is the area where this incident happened, WWE do use local talent. So I don't know that it was anything special or specific or anything like that. It could just be that he's a local talent and they've used him as a security guard. And it could just be that, to be honest. So well done, though, to the people that spotted that. I'm not aware, obviously, of this promotion and their roster. So I would never have been able to have told you who that was. But apparently, yeah, he was involved in that very, very viral clip from this year. The whole Raja Jackson incident. He helped get Raja Jackson off of Psycho Stu. Right, then we went to our first match. So the MFTs started coming down and they still had this face paint on, which I quite like. I don't mind it. So they started making their way down to the ring. Just a better look at JC and Tama Tonga. That's the face paint that they had. These two would be competing in the first match against Shinsuke and Rey Fenix. Match was okay. You guys thought it was okay. It got a decent score, but not a mind-blowing score. And the MFTs pick up the victory. So there we go. Simple, straightforward, a win for the MFTs. They need it as well. We've obviously spent quite a bit of time of like reintroducing them. It would have made very little sense them taking an L in this match. So yeah, makes sense. Backstage, we had Chelsea confronting Giulia. She was trying to recruit her as a slagent. Obviously, in the background, you could see Nikki. So Nikki Cross in the background. This is very interesting because it feels like Nikki is still setting her targets, her sights on this United States Championship, which is very, very interesting. A lot of people wondered if we might be bringing a female in with the MFTs. And could it be that we get a female with the MFTs to deal with Nikki? Well, Nikki might not be involved in that feud. Instead, she might be setting her sights on this championship instead. So, interesting. We're going to have to see how this develops, but she's still in the background. And we've seen her in the backgrounds of Giulia segments in the past. Then we went to our next match. This was Tiffany against Kiana James. Again, this match was okay. I thought there was a couple of moments in here that was okay. Apparently during commentary, Michael Cole called Kiana James Nia James. Bayley picked up on it. She's like, Nia James, get it together, Michael Cole. So there we go. A few people picking up on the fact that Michael made a bit of a botch during commentary. Tiffany would get the victory and then would be attacked by Giulia. So Giulia would get in the ring, start beating up on Tiffany. Then, of course, we would get a moment where Jade would come down. So Jade would come down to help Tiffany. We know that Tiffany and Jade have feuded quite a lot this year. And I think this was meant to be like the big shocking moment on the show. It didn't really do a great deal for me, if I'm being honest, because I think Jade is someone that has kind of really struggled to like really make an impact. I think like she was in a tag team with Bianca. That was fine. But then, you know, since that team broke up, she's kind of really struggled to put wins together and get some momentum. The crowd reactions are not that crazy. I actually think this is exactly what she needs. I think Jade turning heel is the right way forwards. So, yeah, she turned. So she came down, she helped Tiffany, and then turned on Tiffany. And there was a lot of a beatdown, a bit of an attack. Here you can see on the outside, this led to a pretty brutal stomp. So you can see Tiffany's leg right there. And Jade stomping down on that leg, causing some damage. Hopefully nothing real or serious, of course, because we would find out that a match has been made, I believe, for Saturday night's main event, Tiffany against Jade for the championship. Is this a glimpse of the future? Jade Cargill turns heel and she eyes up that women's championship. We can kind of come back to all of that, but I agree with some comments that are doing the rounds online. I think it does make sense to pull the trigger. I feel like I've seen everything Tiffany can show me right now. It would be good for her to go away and work on a few other things. I feel like I've seen what she can do. I don't know that there's really any more there at the moment. So bringing her run to an end now, it's got to end at some point. Bringing her run to an end now, I wouldn't be down on that. Jade as champion could be interesting, certainly with her being a heel. I did like the comments from G Doggy Dog at the end of our watch along, who was just saying, like, if we do go in this direction, maybe Jade doesn't have to do it alone. Perhaps you could give her some support. Maybe there could be another person that's just, you know, by her side, a bit of an acquaintance, someone that can get involved in matches. We could maybe flesh this out a little bit. So, interesting. I think she's got to stand a good chance of winning. Here's Fade. So Fade just with this little clip. There you can see the mark. I think I've got a slightly better mark somewhere. But yeah, you can see this mark here. I might have it later in the folder. That is when she got busted open a few weeks ago. Do you remember she got smashed into the ring steps and there was all that blood coming down? So you can see the scar, the mark on her face, on her head. So pretty moody, pretty nasty stuff. So, right, then we moved on. So we had Ilja. He made his way down to the ring. He was our next match. This was our third match, and this was the open challenge. He is going to continue those open challenges. He seemed quite emotional at the start when he was doing his promo. I think he has missed wrestling, of course. I think he's so grateful to be back, and what a great opportunity. You know, he's back, he's a mid-card champion. But who would answer that challenge? It turned out to be Aleister Black with Zelina. Now, I was a little bit down on this entrance. I think that it feels to me like Aleister's entrance with Zelina kind of shoved in. We haven't really come up with anything different or exciting. It just feels like she's just been dropped in. And like they were both like just walking down to the ring and there wasn't really anything going on. They were just kind of walking side by side. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the whole Carrie and Scarlett kind of connection, but it kind of felt like Carrion and Scarlett performed their entrance more than what I'm seeing out of Aleister and Zelina. Carrion and Scarlett have been mentioned quite a bit online as well. The reason for that is because it does feel very, very close to the kind of thing that they were doing. So this was the first look at an entrance for Aleister and Zelina. Personally, I think a bit more work can be done with it. I think it can be a bit more performative. I think it can be a bit more impressive than what we've had so far. But yeah, there was a few people online that were really into it. I think Zelina and Aleister look great together, and I saw a lot of praise for that. During the match, basically the match was not bad. It was getting somewhere. And then, of course, Zelina got involved. She got told she would need to leave. She kind of didn't. And so Damian Priest, who we haven't seen since that fireball, he started to make his way down. And actually, we got to see the damage that was caused. Apparently, that is from that fireball to the face. So I don't know if that's real or if it's makeup. But either way, that's apparently the damage. That distraction would allow Ilja to get the victory. Then, of course, we would get like a bit of a beatdown. So Damian would go after Aleister. Zelina would jump on his back. It would end up going into the crowd. And that was kind of the end of the segment. So clearly, Aleister, Zelina have still got a Damian problem, which, of course, was to be expected. You can't really throw a fireball in someone's face and not expect them to retaliate. So not a big surprise. But yeah, a bit of a flat ending to the open challenge, I thought. It was actually starting to get quite good until we got all of this stuff. Then we had Carmelo backstage. He said he's going to let it slide with The Miz. He says that they're even. I doubt The Miz feels that way. Kit Wilson came in and accused Carmelo of toxic masculinity. And as a result, we have set up a match for next week. Backstage, we had Fraxiom talking with DIY. Still feels like we're going to get a match there. But we had Tama Tonga arrive as well, just kind of letting them know that they're kind of in their sights. There was no sign, or I saw no sign of the Wyatt Six other than Nikki earlier. I don't know where the Wyatt Six were this week. I really thought they might make their presence felt. No sign of them. So, yeah, I don't know. A bit confused as to what's happening with the MFTs and who they're targeting and what their future looks like. Still feels like it's going to be the Wyatt Six, but we just didn't make any progress with that on this show. This was a bit strange. We found out that Charlotte and Alexa are going to defend their tag titles against Bayley and Lyra. You might remember that Bayley said she's got a surprise for Lyra for her birthday, and so she has delivered it. She put a little statement out online and a little video basically calling for this match. They responded and they've granted it. So Bayley and Lyra going for those tag titles next week against Charlotte and Alexa. Nia got involved for no reason, and Alexa, Nia looks like that's going to be next week on SmackDown. So a very busy week for Alexa in particular. Here was Bayley's video. We won't play it, right? She does a little turnaround though. There we go, with her cat. Lovely. And she obviously calls for this match. And she gets her response, but she was not happy with it. She's like, you mean that I spent 1 minute 14 of my sweet, precious time just for you guys to mumble 6 words? That's it. Those tag titles deserve more. Come home to mama. Hashtag disrespect. Hashtag Raw. Hashtag Smackdown. So she issued a challenge. In all fairness, they accepted. So she's getting her match. But I don't think she was pleased that she got such little attention. So there we go. And as we said, this match has been made for Saturday night's main event. Tiffany, Jade has been added. Saturday night's main event, of course, not this weekend, next weekend. And we will be live for that, doing the watch along for that. So this took us to our main events. And honestly, up until this point, other than the kind of Jade turn, maybe a couple of little backstage things, there really wasn't much on this show. This main event, I think, needed to do a bit of lifting, a bit of heavy lifting to kind of really raise that score for this week's episode. I don't know if it managed it. I mean, it was okay. It was probably the best match. It was fun, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't one that really blew my mind. Jimmy Uso, Drew McIntyre, underway. They were fighting in the crowds. There was a table that was involved. That's what the crowd wanted. And Drew during the match said, "You chose this. I'm innocent." So Drew continuing to say that he was innocent. Jimmy Uso with an Uso in the wind. So there he is. Bang. Coming off the top, delivering an Uso in the wind. But the end result would be a victory for Drew. He would deliver a Claymore, pick up the win. Then he would start to wrap a chair around the throat of Jimmy. You brought this on yourself. And, of course, that would bring down Cody. Cody would come down. He would start brawling away with Drew. Drew would get the better of Cody, actually. And it would be Drew that would stand tall at the end of what I thought was a very, very average show, all things considered. Here we've got Alfred just saying Jade Cargill leaving Saturday night's main event with that women's championship is the only scenario that makes sense. And I agree. That's the direction I would go as well. So that was SmackDown. I don't know that it's going to have set everyone's hearts racing, hearts are fluttering. It was so-so, fairly average. We've seen way better episodes of Raw and SmackDown in recent weeks. But hey, it is what it is. On we go to Saturday night's main event. So appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.